Imagine crash landing on a completely unknown planet. Your spacecraft is destroyed. Your oxygen is running out. You don't know where you are. And somewhere across the alien landscape, another survivor is trapped inside an escape pod, waiting for someone to rescue her. The only problem is, you're the only person who can reach her. That's the terrifying situation facing Andy Ramirez in *Distant, a 2024 science fiction survival thriller about isolation, strange alien creatures, and two strangers trying to stay alive on a planet that wants them dead. The story begins aboard the mining spacecraft Borealis. Andy is an asteroid miner, traveling through space as part of a mission to extract valuable resources. Unlike the fearless astronauts we normally see in science fiction movies, Andy isn't exactly the perfect space hero. He's inexperienced in emergencies, relies heavily on technology, and isn't prepared for what is about to happen. As the ship travels through an asteroid field, disaster suddenly strikes. The spacecraft is hit by debris. The impact throws everything into chaos. Andy is knocked unconscious. When he finally wakes up, he realizes the ship is breaking apart. He has only seconds to react. His escape pod is launched into space. Andy loses control as the pod hurtles toward an unknown planet. He crashes onto the surface. The impact is violent, but somehow he survives. When Andy finally climbs out of the wreckage, he sees a world unlike anything humanity has ever explored. The landscape is enormous. Strange plants cover the ground. The sky looks unfamiliar, and the atmosphere is completely unbreathable. Andy quickly discovers that his survival suit is damaged. His oxygen supply is leaking. Every minute he spends outside the pod brings him closer to death. Then he receives a signal. Another survivor is alive. Her name is Naomi Calloway. She's trapped inside another escape pod somewhere across the planet. Naomi is terrified. She has no way to leave her pod and no idea whether anyone else survived. Andy tells her he's coming. But there's a problem. She is several kilometers away. And between Andy and Naomi is an entire alien wilderness. Andy begins walking. His oxygen supply continues dropping. Every step could be his last. But knowing that another human being is depending on him gives Andy a reason to keep moving. As he crosses the planet, he encounters the first signs that this world isn't empty. Something is moving beneath the surface. Andy initially thinks it's just an animal. Then he sees it. A massive alien creature emerges from the ground. It moves like a giant predator, hunting anything it can find. Andy runs. The creature follows. He barely escapes by using the environment around him. But now he understands something important. The lack of breathable air isn't his only problem. The planet is alive, and its creatures are hunting him. As Andy continues his journey, he discovers another survivor. A man named Dwayne. For a moment, Andy thinks he's finally found someone who can help him. Dwayne is trying to establish an emergency beacon. If they can get the signal working, rescue might actually be possible. But before they can finish, the creatures attack. Dwayne is killed. Andy realizes that stopping to help others could put his own life at risk. But he also understands that he can't abandon Naomi. She is still waiting, and her oxygen supply is also running out. Andy continues across the dangerous terrain. His communication with Naomi becomes the only thing keeping him focused. They talk constantly. They joke. They argue. They encourage each other. Even though they've never met face to face, a strange friendship begins developing between them. For Andy, Naomi becomes more than just another survivor. She becomes the reason he refuses to give up. But as he gets closer to her location, the alien creatures become more aggressive. And Andy begins realizing that reaching Naomi may be only the beginning of their problems. Because even if he rescues her, they still have to find a way off the planet. And they have no idea whether anyone is coming to save them. Andy finally reaches Naomi's escape pod. After everything he has gone through, he expects the rescue to be simple. It isn't. Naomi's leg is trapped inside the damaged pod, and Andy has to carefully free her before her oxygen runs out. When he finally gets her out, she shares her oxygen supply with him. For the first time, the two survivors are standing together. But they don't have time to celebrate. The creatures have followed them. The strange spider-like predators begin attacking from every direction. Andy and Naomi run toward the remains of the Borealis, hoping the damaged ship can provide shelter. They manage to reach the ship and seal the entrance behind them. For a moment, they think they're safe. Then they hear something moving inside. The creature has followed them. Andy and Naomi run through the dark corridors while the monster tears through the ship behind them. They eventually trap themselves inside an airlock. The creature begins breaking through the door. It looks like there is nowhere left to go. Then Naomi notices something attached to Andy's equipment. a strange pouch filled with glowing fireflies. She remembers that the creatures are afraid of them. Naomi throws the pouch toward the monster. The glowing insects swarm around it, forcing the creature to retreat. Andy and Naomi use the opportunity to escape deeper into the ship. They reach a storage area filled with equipment and supplies. But the creature comes back. This time, they know they can't simply run. They need to kill it. Naomi distracts the creature while Andy gets inside an escape pod. He activates the pod's controls and waits for the perfect moment. As the creature moves toward Naomi, Andy releases the pod. The heavy vehicle crashes directly onto the creature, crushing it. Finally, the monster stops moving. Andy and Naomi stand there in silence. They have survived, but they still have a problem. There is no immediate rescue. The transmission sent toward Earth will take a long time to receive a response, and the pair may have to wait many months before help can arrive. For Andy, however, something has changed. Before meeting Naomi, he was completely alone. He was dealing with the loss of his wife and son, carrying the pain of their deaths with him everywhere he went. He had been surviving because he had no other choice. Now he has someone beside him. Naomi has her own fears and painful memories, but together they have managed to turn an impossible situation into something survivable. They begin searching the ship for food, water, equipment, and anything else that can help them stay alive. The alien planet is still dangerous. The creatures are still out there, and rescue could take a very long time. But now they have each other. Andy looks out through the ship toward the strange alien landscape. For the first time since the crash, he isn't thinking about dying. He's thinking about going home. And Naomi is thinking the same thing. They know the wait will be long. They know there may be more creatures outside. They know Earth is still incredibly far away. But they survived the crash. They survived the journey. They survived the creatures. And most importantly, they survived alone long enough to find each other. The movie ends without giving them an instant rescue. Instead, Andy and Naomi sit together and look toward the distant horizon, knowing that help may eventually come. They may have landed on the wrong planet. They may be millions of miles away from everyone they know. But they are no longer alone. And that becomes the real meaning of distant. In a universe where two people can be separated by unimaginable distance, sometimes the smallest connection can be enough to keep someone alive. But before Andy and Naomi can truly relax, they discover something that changes their understanding of the planet. The creatures aren't simply random predators. They seem to be connected to the planet itself. Their behavior is strangely coordinated, almost as if they are responding to something beneath the surface. Andy begins studying them. He realizes the creatures are attracted to certain sounds and lights, while avoiding other signals. This could be the key to surviving until rescue arrives. Meanwhile, Naomi searches through the ship's remaining systems. She discovers that the Borealis still has enough technology to transmit a powerful emergency signal. But the system is badly damaged. They have only one chance to repair it. Andy and Naomi spend hours working together. For the first time, they aren't simply reacting to danger. They're planning for the future. They repair the transmitter and send their coordinates into space. Now they wait. Days pass. Then weeks. The planet remains hostile, but the two survivors slowly adapt. They build a safer shelter. They collect food. They study the creatures. And they establish a routine. Andy, who once believed he had nothing left to live for, begins changing. Naomi notices it too. He laughs more. He talks about his old life. He starts imagining what he will do when he returns to Earth. But then they receive a response. A faint signal comes from space. Rescue may actually be coming. The two are overwhelmed with relief. After everything they've survived, they finally have proof that someone knows where they are. But the signal contains another message. The rescue mission cannot arrive immediately. They will have to survive much longer. And the planet is becoming increasingly dangerous. The creatures are becoming more aggressive. Their shelter is no longer completely safe. Food supplies are running low again. The pair realize that their final challenge isn't simply waiting for rescue. They must survive long enough to see it. Andy looks at Naomi. Neither of them says anything. They already understand. They've come too far to give up now. So they prepare once again. They reinforce the shelter. They gather supplies. They repair the communication equipment. And they wait for the day when the sky finally brings help. For Andy, the journey has changed everything. He arrived on the planet believing he was alone in the universe. He leaves the experience understanding that survival isn't always about strength. Sometimes it's about having someone who gives you a reason to keep going. Naomi becomes that reason for him. And Andy becomes the same for her. The planet is still dangerous. Their future is still uncertain. But they are no longer facing it alone. And somewhere millions of miles away, a rescue signal is finally heading toward them. For the first time since the crash, Andy allows himself to believe that they might actually make it home. Andy and Naomi finally reach the damaged Borealis, believing they have found the safest place on the planet. But their relief doesn't last. Something has followed them inside. A massive alien creature suddenly emerges from the darkness and begins hunting them through the abandoned ship. They run through the corridors, desperately searching for somewhere to hide. Eventually, they become trapped inside an airlock. The creature starts forcing its way through the door. Andy and Naomi believe they are out of options. Then Naomi notices the strange glowing fireflies Andy collected earlier. She realizes the creatures are afraid of them. She throws the pouch toward the monster, forcing it to retreat. The two survivors escape into the cargo area. But the creature follows. Naomi distracts it while Andy gets inside an escape pod. He waits for the perfect moment. Then he activates the pod and sends it crashing directly onto the creature. The impact kills the monster. For the first time since the crash, Andy and Naomi can finally breathe. They search the ship and discover enough supplies to survive for a long time. But rescue won't arrive immediately. They may have to wait around 18 months. Still, something has changed. Andy is no longer alone. Before the crash, he was carrying the pain of losing his wife and son in an accident. He had traveled into space partly because he didn't know how to live with that loss. But Naomi gives him something he had almost forgotten how to feel: hope. The two survivors settle inside the ship and prepare themselves for the long wait. They don't know exactly what the future holds. The planet is still dangerous. There may be more creatures outside. And rescue is still far away. But they have food, shelter, communication equipment, and most importantly, they have each other. Andy looks through the window at the strange alien world. For the first time, he isn't thinking about the family he lost. He's thinking about the possibility of going home. Naomi sits beside him. Neither of them knows exactly when rescue will arrive. But they know they survived the impossible. They survived the crash. They survived the journey. They survived the creatures. And now they have something worth waiting for. The film ends with Andy and Naomi looking out into the distance, waiting for the rescue that will eventually come. They arrived on an alien planet as two strangers separated by kilometers of hostile terrain. They leave the story as two survivors who gave each other a reason to keep going. And that's the real heart of Distant. Sometimes survival isn't about being the strongest person in the room. Sometimes it's about finding one person who makes you believe tomorrow is worth reaching. Andy thought he had lost everything. But on a planet millions of miles from home, he found hope again. But the biggest change in Andy isn't physical. It's emotional. Before the crash, Andy was still carrying the pain of losing his family. He had traveled into space trying to escape the memories that followed him everywhere. On the alien planet, he is forced to face those feelings. And Naomi becomes the person who helps him understand that surviving doesn't mean forgetting the people you've lost. It means finding a reason to keep living. Together, Andy and Naomi continue repairing the ship and preparing for rescue. They know the wait could be long. They know the planet is still dangerous. But now they have something they didn't have before: a future to look forward to. Eventually, the rescue signal becomes stronger. For the first time, they know that someone has heard them. They may still be millions of miles away from Earth, but they are no longer invisible. Andy looks at the strange world around him one final time. The same planet that once felt like a death sentence has become the place where he found a reason to live again. He arrived there alone, frightened, and convinced that his life had already lost its meaning. Now he stands beside Naomi, waiting for the day they can finally go home. They survived because they refused to give up. They survived because they trusted each other. And most importantly, they survived because they found hope in the middle of nowhere. That is ultimately what Distant is about. It isn't just a story about an astronaut trapped on an alien planet. It's about two people who are physically distant from everything they know, yet somehow become closer than anyone else in their lives. The distance between them was enormous. The planet was hostile. The odds were almost impossible. But they kept moving toward each other. And sometimes, that's enough. Because even when the universe feels impossibly large, one human connection can make it feel a little less lonely. And as Andy and Naomi wait for rescue, they finally understand that the journey wasn't only about finding a way back to Earth. It was about finding a reason to keep going. And after everything they've survived, they finally have one.